Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. Tim, what's going on, brother?
I'm doing all right. I'm a little bit of a somber mood, as you. If you guys listened to the previous episode, you would have been able to tell there. So I'm doing okay.
So, what's going on today? Why don't you bring it in? We talked a little bit about this before we hit the record button, but I'm going to let you segue into this because I think it's an important topic for the guys listening.
Yeah, it really is. So right now, I feel like my head's going to explode, quite frankly. I feel annoyed. I feel irritated. I feel like my day is getting away with me. Now, why is that? And I have not felt this way I can't even remember the last time because, we know in this position, it bleeds over into every area of your life, right? Your business, it's clear there. You make, decisions aren't as profitable. They don't come from a calm place. Your relationship, you can easily start to be reactive or on edge or people please, whatever. So, a few years ago, once I became aware of this, and in the process of building the Powerful Man, we came up with the Alpha Rise and Shine routine, which I follow and we give the guys. And this morning, I didn't get a chance to do it. Now, the reason for that, and this may sound funny to some of you guys, is because we've got two dogs, and one of them is in season, which means that the dogs have to sleep in the room with Amelia and I. Now, we've gone through all sorts of different scenarios, so you might be listening to this or watching this thinking, well, why does that have to be? Put them in different rooms. What are you doing? Listen, we've tried lots of different scenarios. This is the best we've got, right? So the dogs sleep with us in the bedroom, one of them in the bed, one of them in the dog bed by the side of the bed, because if we leave them alone, one's a boy, one's a girl, they get it on. And if they get it on, that's not a good thing at all. So this is what I imagine sleeping with a kid in the bed is like. You've got a dog in there, it's kicking you in the ribs, it's turning around, you wake up, its ass is in your face. It's just not cool. Then you've got the dog in the dog bed on the side, getting up all the time and getting in the bed and getting out of the bed, and Amelia's go to bed, like at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Alarm goes off at 6:30, and I've got this nice, pristine Alpha Rise and Shine routine, all planned, ready to go. I'm going to do my meditation, go on my nature walk, do my journal, go to the gym. And Doug, I am militant about my routine. I do
You
not.
are?
Yeah, because it sets me up for the day, right? So alarm goes off 6:30. I'm like, fuck that. No way am I getting up right now. I have a meeting at 10:30. I end up getting out of bed at about 9:45. I'm getting downstairs by about 10:15. I like to just, calibrate myself. I didn't get a chance to do that. So I had a meeting at 10:30, a meeting at 11. I then headed off to the gym, and then I had a meeting at 1:30, a meeting at 2:30, a meeting at 3:30, a meeting at 4:00. Which is all fine. I can easily handle that. But without my morning routine in place, it's felt like the day's been running away with me, and I've just been kind of riding the day, and it's been taking me, right? Now, fast forward to now. Amelia starts messaging me when we're in the team meeting. Oh, can you look after the dog so I can take Paddy out? Paddy's one of the dogs. Wants to take her on a walk. I can see all these messages coming through. I'm trying to focus on you and Arthur and whatnot. And obviously, I work from home. So just come upstairs. Come and see me. Ask me for what you want. Now, obviously, I'm in this place of reaction, right? So rather than owning my boundaries and just saying, look, no, I can't do it. I'm on meetings. It's too much for me to sit downstairs and, watch one dog in season, and also there's a puppy here. It's like a dog house. So anyway, what do? I said to me, like, yeah, sure. You go, because I'm watching her in front of me. She's getting disappointed, she's getting frustrated, and I don't want to let her down. I want to be able to help her. So I sacrifice myself. I people please. I then let her go do her thing. I'm then downstairs. We come up to record the podcast episodes. She's still not back. I jump on with you, and you're like, how are you doing? I'm frustrated. Now, the thing with this is, Amelia and I, she doesn't want me to be in a position where I'm just people pleasing her, where I'm not owning my boundaries. In that position, she's gone off. She's all happy on a dog walk, doing her thing. That's what she loves to do. That's not an impression of her, but that's what she loves to do. I'm the one left here building up all the frustration. And going downstairs, or when we meet this evening, obviously I'm going to speak to her about this. But in the past, I think what I would have done is just buried this. Then it would have come out in some other way. And it really reminded me of a lot of the guys that come to us, because the guys that come to us don't have a morning routine in place. Usually they will, they have the truth assessment when they join the program to get real about where they are and where they want to be. And it asks them on there, what's your morning routine? And most of them, their morning routine is to wake up, grab a coffee and drive to the office. And, it's in that place where you just are reactive. And then when you wanted to connect with your wife or be present with her and have a loving, intimate relationship, it's very difficult to do that from a place of reaction. And it really got me thinking about the importance of the morning routine, because my workload in the day pretty much stays the same, and I'm fine. I can execute on all that, switch off on an evening, connect with Amelia. So it's only been this one thing in my morning routine that's changed, about how my energy and how I feel creates distance between her and I. And it's such an easy thing to overlook, is how you start your day. But if you want to come home on an evening and have an environment with your wife where you can walk through the door, switch off and be present and be happy to be there without thinking about work and without worrying about work, and instead actually be able to play with your kids and speak with your wife and enjoy dinner together and go to bed together, and who knows, maybe have sex and wake up feeling energized and refreshed. It all starts with that simple thing of the routine.
Well, I think it's so true. And I'm laughing over here, Tim, one, because I know you so well and we're like brothers. We've talked about this offline. But two, it's also, I have little kids, right? So it's funny for me to hear you talk about your dogs and, in one day. So a couple of things that I want to share is, one is, this is one day of you going through this, right? Now imagine the men listening to this that have been doing this for years. Their kids are waking them up. They're going right into it. It's just become their norm. The feeling you have now is their norm going through it. I know you know this, but I'm sharing it for the listeners going through. But there's also a way of having your morning routine while you have these situations going on. So,
for sure.
Yeah. So guys, look, but you just didn't plan on this, right? This is this is new to you. It's not like you, like me, I have a toddler, baby on the way. So I do my morning routine. I plan it as such, so it fits into that schedule, but it's the same thing. Now, if you can imagine this frustration you're having now, and guys listening to this, I'm talking to you. Now imagine that multiplying by 2 days, 2 weeks, etc. Now your relationship with Amelia has become adversarial at best, and that's going to cause you to split apart. We talked about in a previous podcast how this guy was working hard, and only to find out that he was being a jerk at home, right? He didn't think he was being that bad, but apparently he was. And his wife had an emotional affair on him, right? Or is having one. She didn't just stop. She's like, no, I'm not going to stop doing this because you're a jerk. And so I think that also becomes something to think about. And the morning routine, as you were saying, sets the tone for the rest of the day. That tone for the rest of the day sets the tone for the week, the month, the quarter, the year, etc.
Yeah, it's key. It's like playing sport, right? You don't just run onto the field and, get straight into a tackle. You warm up. And even before the game, you'll go through preparation and visualization. Every high performer has a morning routine, and it's a religious routine they stick to. And it's fascinating because, I understand how some people listening might think, oh, well, I've got kids, I've got these demands, that's just not possible for me. Yet the guys that come to us during the truth assessment who say they don't have a routine, when we give them the Alpha Rise and Shine routine to actually exit, they can do it. I think, it's easy to make the excuse and say, hey, look, that's not me. I just can't do that. But reality is, it's just never, they just don't know how to do it often. And, there can be a lot of trial and error that goes into setting up a morning routine that actually works for you. I think that's why the Alpha Rise and Shine routine works so well for the guys, because one, it's been tested by yourself, myself, and many other guys over many different years. It's taken a lot of development to get to this point, so it's a simple system for the guys to follow. But when they do, it really allows them to be able to take control of their day. And the game's won minute by minute, right? Choice by choice. It's not won by one decision.
Yep.
And if you're in a position where you're feeling reactive, then you're not in a position of power, right? The fundamentals of alpha talks about peace, power, and flow. It's territory one, it's self. That's the foundation. That's the start of becoming a full stack powerful man. And, guys, if you're listening to this and you're wondering, okay, well, why am I, I'm going to work, I'm making more money, but why am I getting more chaos in my life? Why is life become harder when I've made more money? Why now making more money for my family is my wife even more disconnected to me than before? And one of the things, and we speak about this a lot, is women really want the man in their life to have purpose, but they don't want him to get lost in his purpose, right? And part of the key to a the morning routine, but the rise and shine routine, is that it gives you that time for yourself to be able to actually proactively build and create your day. So it gives you those guardrails. It helps you to stop getting so out of balance, which is key if you want to be able to produce this life where you're firing on all cylinders. You've been a full stack powerful man. Now that's not for everybody. I get it. It requires work. It requires commitment. It requires adjustments along the way. I get it. There is an easier way. But usually that's not going to give you what you want. And if you do wonder, okay, well, no, because my marriage is separate to my morning routine. It's a separate area, Doug. It has nothing to do with it. Okay, well, I understand why you might think that, yeah, but how is business affected when things aren't going well at home? Usually, for the guys that come to us, business struggles because they go into work and they're thinking about the wife, they're worried about what's going to happen there, and they're not as productive. How is your health affected when things aren't well at home? Usually the guys will stay up late. They'll pour themselves a glass of wine. A glass will turn to a bottle. They'll have a cocktail. They'll eat food they shouldn't eat. They'll pile on weight. Every territory is touching, right? As we know.
Oh, I've been there.
It's the same on the flip side, So when you get this foundational piece in place of the morning routine, it's like building a house. This is your foundation. And upon this, you can layer everything else. Without this, there's no foundation, and your day can crumble very easily.
I've been there, man. So I can speak from experience. As a business owner, you start getting up earlier, you get the coffee, you get to work because you want to get the edge, you want to get out there. And the Alpha Rise and Shine really helps calibrate you more than anything, right? It's almost like a calibration that you can do. And if you're a business owner, you're listening to this, you'll know the difference of walking into a board meeting or a sales meeting, being in state, right? Being in that flow state versus not. And a lot of the leaders that we know, and I know for sure, and I do this, is I prep before I walk into that room, right? I get myself ready and I'm ready to conquer. And when I do that, I own the room and I own the whole process that we're going through. It's the same thing about owning your day, right? You're doing it with the Alpha Rise and Shine, Tim. And when that gets thrown off, it can put everything into a complete spin. And what I laugh about this, which is so great, by the way, so thank you, is you are so in tune and so used to being on, in the sense of being on this routine, that you get thrown off. You can see that difference so clearly, right? It really throws you off. It's dramatic, right? Because you've been so on the Rise and Shine, Alpha Rise and Shine for years. Whereas the average person won't notice the difference because they're so far in the weeds that hurts them. It's almost like someone who's been out of shape for so long that they don't even realize that they're huffing and puffing as they walk up the stairs until they start to get in shape again. And they're like, oh crap, I was really bad back there, in that previous time. So you almost need that lens of looking at both sides and the extremes. And you're having that right now, which also reminds me to make sure I make my morning routine a priority, looking at that. So thank you.
Yeah, it's key. It's key, right? I spoke with one of the guys today that's in the Brotherhood, and he was saying the exact same thing. Tim, there's days when I just can't get it done. And those days, everything's off. I'm short-tempered with my wife. I'm I feel rushed in business. I don't work out. I don't have enough time for myself. He's still got the same 24 hours he had the day before when he did it. It's just choices and it's trajectory, right? It's kind of like the plane that sets off and is 1 degree off course, ends up, missing. I can't remember what the figures are, but it's way off course. Put it that way. I'm going to choose a different one. It's like heading off to the moon. That's a better way of putting it. I think if you're 1 degree off, you miss the moon by like 2,500 miles or something. It's trajectory. It adds up over time. And likewise, he said, look, I realize it's just an excuse. I can do my morning routine. I can get it in place. He's got kids. He's got a wife. He's got businesses.
Yep.
It's a choice. And when he chooses to get it in place, everything's different. Everything's different for him.
I love it. It's inspiring. So, by the way, Tim, Tuesday morning meetings are now off for me. I put it, just to let you know. But gentlemen, this is a really important thing for you guys to look at is audit your morning routine. What is that like? Right? What are you doing? Are you setting yourself up for success, or are you setting yourself up for the hectic, frantic day, which is really failure at the end of the day, right? The cortisol levels are going to grow up, your stress hormones. It's going to send you to an early grave. We all know it. We just don't expect us to get there, right? It's the other guy that's doing that. But set yourself up for success. Get a routine, audit it to make sure it's right for you, right? And make sure you do that now. Gentlemen, that's it for us for another episode of The Powerful Man Show. If any of this resonates with you, I encourage you to go over to thealphareset.com right now. We can get a great training from Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews himself, a training that he'll have after he's done his morning routine. So you'll see the difference in face there right away. Guys, that's it for us. We're wrapping it up, and we'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show.